Thank you for taking your time to talk to me. It's such a great honor. And how are you? How was your trip?
It was fine. I mean, whenever you travel across the ocean, it could be a bit of a trek, but I'm okay. We're rehearsing. We're having fun. The music sounds good.
Yeah, about the concert that you are playing tomorrow. Could you tell us more? Because you got such a great group lined up for this concert.
Thank you. Well, we're going to be playing the music from all the films that I've done with Spike Lee. And a lot of it is some of the score music that I've written. And then half of it is based on the songs. Well, we're performing the songs from all the films. So we have Nona Hendrix, we got China, and then we have Kiana singing with us. Great talent. And then I have a great band, Fabian Almazan, Justin Faulkner on drums, Fabian plays piano, Tabari on bass, and Bryce Winston on tenor saxophone. We perform this stuff a lot, and it's always great. I was talking to China about it today. Sometimes we have little improvisational changes to the music, but it makes it fun. It makes it a lot of fun.
Just going back to the beginning, I heard that you started playing on the piano when you were 5. Mm-hmm. So how did you end up playing on the trumpet?
Well, I was in elementary school, and you know how they have like little seminars for kids? They brought a traditional New Orleans jazz band to the school, and it was led by this trumpet player named Alvin Alcorn. And I remember when I was a kid just looking up and listening to him play, and I'm going, wow, I want to do that. Because I'd been playing piano, but hearing his trumpet playing, it had like a vocal-like quality to it to me at the time. Even though I was a little kid, that's one thing I kept thinking about was, he has vibrato, the piano doesn't have vibrato, And I went home that day and I told my parents I wanted to play the trumpet.
And, growing up, was it mostly jazz music for you in regards to the music that you were listening to?
No, not at all. I mean, I grew up in a household that really loved music, but my parents and my aunts and uncles, they were all into classical and spiritual music. So I heard a lot of operatic music growing up, and I heard a lot of spiritually based music growing up. I was the one that kind of introduced jazz in the house. Those guys that hung around a lot of jazz musicians, and my dad knew a bunch of jazz musicians in New Orleans, but that wasn't what he played at the house. So essentially, I heard a lot of different type of things growing up, and I was influenced by a lot of different types of musical styles.
On the 26th of May, so it was yesterday, we had the 2nd anniversary of your project Breathless being published. And it was such a great album. And could you tell us something more on how did you come up with it?
Thank you for that. Breathless was something that came about. It was a reaction to what was going on in our country. We initially put the band together to kind of inspire some young kids who may not necessarily want to be jazz musicians. But as we were doing that, we were over here, we were in Europe, and we kept reading the news about this one being shot, that one being shot, and we felt like we had to make our own little statement about it. And all of a sudden, the music started to change, and the purpose behind the band started to change. As a matter of fact, we recorded a live project that we haven't released yet, and it's all based around similar themes. It's all based around unarmed African American and Latino men being shot by police officers, and the repercussions afterward. So we went to 4 cities where we've had those incidents. We recorded in Cleveland, we recorded in Minneapolis, we recorded in Dallas and New York City.
On that record, you also had P.J. Morton, a musician that is also from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. How did New Orleans influence you musically?
New Orleans has a beat. There's a rhythm, to the culture there. We call it a street beat, you call it a second line beat, but that rhythm is an infectious thing, and it makes the music communal, When you hear those rhythms, you see people of all different walks of life coming together. If you watch the crowds doing Mardi Gras or doing the second line parade, everybody's having a good time. Everybody comes together. Everybody forgets for a moment, about all of the racial tension and political bullshit. You know, you put that aside. So that is what I try to carry in a lot of the things that we play, you know, with the music that we create, especially with the E Collective. We want to take away, we want to absorb all the pain and suffering in the music. We want to help people heal by bringing all that to us, and let's have a common experience of sharing, you know, all of our feelings and thoughts about those issues.
Talking about listening to music and live music, you probably heard so many concerts and maybe watched many of your musical heroes live. Do you remember the concerts that really had, you know, the biggest impact on you?
Ooh, playing with Sonny Rollins in Carnegie Hall, that was one. I'll never forget that. Scared me to death. Sonny played so much music, oh my God. It was ridiculous. Another one was playing in Italy with Art Blakey, where Dizzy Gillespie came and sat in, and Art told Dizzy that I played the piano during the break, you know, and so Dizzy said, okay, well, when we go back out, just me and you go out. And he says, I'm going to play piano for you on a ballad, and then you play piano for me on a ballad. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, so that was another time. That was a major thing. And then recently, you know, with the E Collective, we got a chance to play the music from Breathless on Staten Island. You know, and Eric Garner's family came, and a lot of other folks came, and it was at a very emotional time. That was a powerful moment. It wasn't necessarily about music for me then. It was more about the power of music, you know, and it was more about the healing process and, you know, just everything people are struggling with, the stress that people are living under and trying to cope with it all. That was a powerful night.
I was recently talking to Robert Glasper. He told me about the importance of the song When Will You Call that he wrote together with Bilal. Mm-hmm. And that song got him the record deal. And you also did this song with him. Mm-hmm. What made you choose that particular song, you know, working together?
Well, I love Bilal's voice, and I just dug the song. I thought it was for me, I thought it could bridge the gap, you know, between pop music or R&B and jazz. We had a lot of fun re-recording it, you know. We didn't get a chance to perform it live as much as I would have liked, but the recording is there, so that's good enough.
Maybe you can come back sometime with him here.
Yeah.
He was already here.
Yeah, that'll be cool, man. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
And of course, we have to, you mentioned it already, talk about Spike Lee. And, you know, you started working together in 1989. And first you were his session musician. But I heard that some of the first conversations that you got or the first contact was about you being fans of Lakers, right?
I was a fan of the Lakers. He was a fan of the Knicks, and he hated it because I would come to the sessions with my Lakers gear on. And then he looked at me and said, "You're a Lakers fan?" I said, "Yep, what's up? Holla, purple and gold, baby." So then he started taking me to the Knicks games, man. And I became a Knicks fan after that, watching Patrick Ewing and John Starks and all of those guys. That was a great time.
You're still a Knicks fan?
No. Right now, I'm trying to be a Pelicans fan, but we don't really have that. We have the pieces for a great team. We need a couple more pieces. But right now, I'm really a Cavalier fan. I'm rooting for LeBron James and the Cavs in the finals.
Okay, so good luck to them. And talking about Spike Lee again, I get this feeling that in his movies, music is not just, you know, the background, it's like one of the main characters in his movies. So basically, your role is such an important role. And how do you do it to tell the stories in the best way that you can?
Well, first of all, I think you're right. With Spike, he does use music as another character. And I think that what you have to do is just be honest about your reaction to the story. You know, not try to hype it, try to push it in any direction. Just take your first reading of it as being how most people would react. For example, when I did Malcolm X, you know, the whole opening is based on the first time I heard a speech by Malcolm X. And I think if you take that approach, it'll give you a direction from which you can start. Let's just say that. Because anything will change. But if you allow yourself to be honest about what it is you're feeling, that's a good starting place. Now, you always have to have conversations with directors, because directors may take a certain type of approach to telling a story, where they want the music to go counter to what it is that you're seeing on the screen. Or they want the music to tell another story that's more of the entire story instead of just one particular scene's approach. So all of those things matter, but the most important thing is to be honest.
One of my favorites is Mo Better Blues. I feel that it was an important movie for you, but also for Denzel Washington or Wesley Snipes. What are your memories from that time?
My memories from that time was to see how hard those guys worked. You know, I was on set every day with Denzel, and man, look, he's a workaholic. You know, everything that I could think of to give him to help him to develop his dexterity and anything he needed to make the musical scenes work, he was on it, you know. And then to watch the process and to watch the mastery of their art between him, you know, and Wesley Snipes, Giancarlo, you know, and even Robin Harris. Watching him, you know what was interesting about Robin Harris, man, people loved him so much. You know, when other guys shoot their scenes, if guys are not in the scene, they're in their dressing room because they're relaxing or going over lines, whatever. Whenever Robin Harris did a scene, everybody was on set. Everybody, because he was so funny and so hilarious. He was such a great talent, man. It was a beautiful thing to watch. But I guess some of my fondest memories of that was when we were shooting the club scenes, you know, just watching Denzil and Wesley work. The three of them, Spike, Denzel, and Wesley, it was an amazing thing to witness.
Talking about Denzel on stage, he had this song there, Pop Top 40, yeah. And yeah, there were some observations about popular music, like silly rhymes like Together Forever and Love, etc. And it was 27 years ago. In a way, it's still valid if you talk about popular music.
Well, I think, listen, with most of the popular music written, it's for kids. You know what I mean? Let's just be real about it. So that's the reason why those approaches were taken in that regard. And the idea behind Bleak Gilliam, Denzel's character, is that he's an artist. He's frustrated with the immature sentiment of some of those, you know, those songs, and hoping, like most artists would, that in the pop realm we could dig a little deeper. And there are artists who do, you know, they dig deep, but they don't get the light. That's just the way it is. So, you know, 20 years later, 30 years later, yeah, it's still similar, but I wouldn't expect anything else.
So, talking about these days, what are you doing regarding music? Any new projects, new movies?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few new things. We did a new album with the E Collective. You know, I have a bunch of commission work. I'm writing another opera. I was commissioned to write my second opera for Opera Theater St. Louis. It's going to be based on Charles Blow's book, Fire Shut Up in My Bones. So I have that to do. I've been commissioned to write a piece about the civil rights movement in Cleveland. And then I just had a TV show that just finished its first season on Fox. It was called Shots Fired.
We will be looking forward to that. And I hope you have a great time in Szczecin.
Oh, yeah. No. This is my second time here. I was here a few years ago, so I'm looking forward to having a good time.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you.
And if I just may ask you for greetings for our listeners.
What's up, y'all? This is Terence Blanchard, and you're listening to Radio Szczecin.
Very good pronunciation.
I've been working on it all day.
Radio Szczecin.